Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the same budget upgrades that we talked about last video in terms of how to make our Armory deck better. However, I'm going to be giving you some ideas on what to swap in and out, depending if you want to play certain cards in the main board or the sideboard, and we'll kind of talk through all of that here in just a second. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below. Please come in, say hi. Let's talk about our Armory deck as well as the upgrades to Katsu. And also check out the creator worksheet down below if you want access to a bunch of other creators that covered this game. So we'll get right into it. I'm sorry I didn't cover this last time. I actually got already 5 comments in a day talking about okay, what do I swap in and out? And for some reason, my brain just didn't think to cover that last video, so I apologize. This wasn't meant to be broken up on purpose. I didn't do this preemptively. But overall, I just wanted to be able to give you some options, because some of these cards are sideboard cards. To be honest, they're not going to be a card that you main, but if they are a sideboard card, I'll talk about what cards I would take out in terms of that. So if you're a newer player, maybe you spent a little bit on some of the upgrades I mentioned, especially some of the lower cost ones like Sirens above my head. Hopefully I can help you kind of make the right choices in terms of swapping in and out. So we'll go one by one. You'll see them swap above me like that as we go into this. But overall, Sirens of the Safe Harbor is probably the easiest one to swap in. It's probably going to take the place of Flying Kick. So this is the easiest swap because Flying Kick used to be really good on a 2-card hand with Kodachis. And if you're on Tunic, because you would Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2, and then activate Tunic to get that 4th resource, and then play Flying Kick for 7. So you get a 2-card 10, which is insanely good value. It's even more value than Sirens will technically give you, but that's when you're on the Kodachi plan. With Edge of Autumn, you need that 3rd card to get to that 3rd link, right? There is no 3 links unless you run Pouncing Paws or something crazy, which you could, in order to get to that 3rd link. So otherwise, it would just be Edge of Autumn for 1, Flying Kick for 6. So it's a 2-card 7, which still isn't terrible, right? Flying Kick being a 2 cost does make it doable. But for Sirens of the Safe Harbor, you get a little bit more value because you're going to Edge of Autumn, and then you're going to Sirens for 7, and then you're going to gain a life off of that. So Sirens is going to get you 8 value total from its attack, and then you get 1 value from Edge of Autumn, making it a 2-card 9. So the 2-card 9 is really good. And then when you talk about the 3-card play, which normally would be Edge of Autumn for 1 into maybe, let's say, Seek Vengeance for 5 go again, and then you use the 2 floating on that blue to play Flying Kick. That's 7 value from Flying Kick, 5 value from Seek Vengeance, and 1 value from Edge of Autumn. So you get 3-card 13, which is very good. Sirens gets you the same thing because you're doing 1 and 5, and then you're playing Sirens for 6, but it's gaining a life, so it's making up that extra point of damage that Flying Kick gave, in a way. So it's the same value on a 3-card hand. So if you end up getting Sirens, I think Flying Kick's probably the easiest swap out. I'm not saying Flying Kick's bad, and if you want to run a more value-based list that blocks a little bit better, you could honestly swap out Scar for Scar, put Flying Kick in Scar for Scar's spot, and then play Sirens if you're wanting to go that super 2-card, 3-card mid-range value play. But overall, the 1-for-1 swap is Flying Kick for Sirens. Next one is Nip at the Heels. This is an attack reaction to help make Whirling Mist Blossom a little bit more threatening. If I had to pick a card to swap out, it would be Soulbead Strike. Soulbead Strike is the least powerful, even if you do end up purchasing Prismatic Layline and making Soulbead Strike a little bit better. Without Prismatic, it's definitely just a 0 for 2 that's almost never going to hit. Doesn't hit a break point, doesn't really do a whole lot for you. At least Torn and Tempo comes in for a break point on Chain Link 2 and can threaten some stuff. But overall, it's hard to make Soulbead Strike really worth it. It does have a little bit of synergy with Razor Reflex, but overall, Nip at the Heels, I would probably take out Soulbead Strike if you really wanted to. Take out this 1 energy potion because this is not going to be needed, and then 2 Soulbead Strikes for your Nip at the Heel. So hopefully that makes sense. But those 2 cards definitely are main boarded. The next one, the Spinning Wheel Kick. Now this can go a couple different ways. The most obvious swap out is Scar for Scar. Easiest way to do it. It's a guaranteed extender. It's a 1-for-5 go again on Chain Link 2. You don't have to have lower life than your opponent. It blocks the same. It just costs 1 to play. So that's kind of where I go with that. Some people did run Scar for Scar even in the old school Ira list, though, just to be a little more aggressive. The other thought process is if you end up getting off of Snapdragon Scalers or go down like Razor Reflex again, you also can just swap out Snatch for it. Snatch is very good. I'm not saying take it out of the list. And honestly, since you do have Razors and Snapdragon Scalers, you could just keep it in. That wouldn't, I wouldn't fault you for it. But that's also an option that you can do as well. The final swap out spot is Soul Bead Strike. Soul Bead Strike's honestly probably I would keep Soul Bead Strike in over Scar for a Scar. Yes, it doesn't have to guarantee go again if you're lower life, but it blocks 3, and I think that's really important, keeping that block value in Ira. So honestly, Scar for Scar would be my first swap out. Then if you end up going to the Breeze Rider plan, Pouncing Paws plan, even Quick Dodge Flexors, then Snatch is your next one. But at that point, you're like not really budgeting anymore. And then Soul Bead Strike is the third one. So hopefully that makes sense for y'all. The next one's Prismatic Layline. Now this one has no true swap target in this list specifically. It really just doesn't. You kind of have to retool the list a little bit. Honestly, I probably would swap out the Razor Reflexes. Razor Reflex is very good, and if you decide that you like it a lot, definitely keep it in. But when you start adding cards like Nip of the Heels in, and you have Akaru already in the list, and you're going to have Ancestral Empowerment in the list, Razor Reflex kind of goes down in terms of necessity, I guess is the word. So I probably would swap it just because it's a power card, and it's not attack, so you're not losing attack ratios. But really, you can kind of go a couple different ways with it. You could take out Razor Reflex. You could swap out a set of Sync Belows and put them in the sideboard. It really depends on how you want to play with it. This starts to go into like the sideboard category where like Leyline is a main board card. Now you have to decide what cards you want to sideboard, right? Maybe you take out the Give and Takes. Because Give and Take is very good, but I think in a fully tuned Ira list, it's not going to quite make the cut. So that's just one thing that you have to think about. Then we have Erase Face. Now, this is just a straight sideboard card. Like, just stick this in your sideboard. It doesn't affect the pure 60 cards. When you do put it in, you're probably going to swap. Because, like, what you're going to end up doing is you're not going to end up having a 60-card main board once you fill out your sideboard. You're going to have, like, a 57, 54-ish main board, maybe even 51, and then you're going to swap cards in. So this just goes into the sideboard. When you do swap it in, it probably is going to come in for Sirens more times than not if you're not, like, on a Prism matchup. I mean, like, if we go to my tuned list for 2 seconds while we're doing this, where is it? Here it is. And you look at my matchup guide, like, if you see, I'm on a 57-card core with Sirens in the main board, and my Erase Faces really come in, let's see where they come in the most. They come in into Syndra, and as you can see, I swap out Sirens for it because Syndra doesn't care as much about pure value as much as, like, trying to disrupt her. It also comes in against Earth decks. Where I just kind of board it in. It comes in against Fang, so on and so forth. So you got to kind of think about that and just reference my normal list on one of my videos to kind of see where Erase Face's best applicability is. But it is a sideboard card. Then you have Ancestral Empowerment. Again, this kind of goes back to my main board. As you can see in my main board, I don't have Flick Flacks on the list. So you can take out Flick Flack, put it in the sideboard, use it for decks where it makes the most sense. As you can see in my main Ira list, I side in Flick Flack into like Assassin because of Slippy being able to go a little bit wider. I'll side in Flick Flack into Fang for obvious reasons. Guardian just to have a little more defense reaction, stuff like that. But really, it's not really a one-for-one swap. It's just you're moving Flick. Once you get enough cards to where you can have a full sideboard, that's where you're going to move Flick Flack to the sideboard, and then you're going to probably put Ancestral Empowerment just in the main board, just kind of how that goes with that. Then you have Sensors. Again, this goes in the main board. And once you get this card, this is where I think you truly just drop Give and Take. Like, in terms of, like, if I really just make a personal copy of this deck, I'm going to do it, like, on the fly. These are the cards that are eventually going to get swapped out as a whole. Now, what order, Razor Reflex is kind of how it is. This is going to go in the sideboard. I'm going to show you what cards just get straight removed. And you can take a screenshot of this when I'm done. It's probably the easiest way to do it. I think Blue Bittering Thorns comes out, but some people might just keep that in, so I'll keep that in for right now. Actually, Sync Below's in the main. I'm just doing this on the fly, so y'all understand. So these are the cards, you can take a screenshot of this. These are the cards that are eventually just going to straight up come out of the list, unless you like them. If you want to keep them in, like Scar for a little bit more offensive pressure, that's fine. If you like the value of Flying Kick, that's fine. But typically, these are the cards that are going to come out of the list. And then this is a card that's going to go in the sideboard, if that makes sense. And if you're not on if you end up not being on the Snapdragon Scalers plan, eventually, like way down the line, once you get Quick Dodge Flexors, or maybe you switch to a Breeze Rider Boots or Pouncing Paws plan, Snatch is going to come out of the list. So take a screenshot of this, or come back to this part of the video and know that these are the cards that are eventually going to come out. So hopefully that makes some sense. But once you do that, Censure just goes in the main board, right? It's a main board card. It never comes out. It's just a good 1 for 5. And once you start spending this type of money, like you're starting to get slightly out of the budget version, so you probably kind of have a good idea already of what you want to run, and it makes it a little bit easier. So hopefully that made sense. Again, Sirens, your easiest and first swap is probably Flying Kick. Then you go Nip of the Heels. You're going to take out Energy Potion and probably like 2 of the Soul Beads, or you just take Energy Potion out altogether and take out the Soul Beads. Spinning Wheel Kick is going to naturally come in for Scar for a Scar, or Soul Bead Strike probably. You're going to probably leave Snatch in until you switch your boots. Prismatic Layline comes in for Razor Reflex, and then Erase Face is just a pure sideboard card, but it boards in the matchups that matter. And then finally, Ancestral Empowerment will come in for technically those Flick Flaks as they move to the sideboard, and that's kind of how that goes. So hopefully this made sense. It was pretty quick and easy. It really depends on what you enjoy playing. If you like the value of Flying Kick, if you like the fact that it's a ninja card, keep it in. These aren't like hard and fast rules, but typically the macro level train of thought is side out a card or swap out a card that fills a similar role. So if you're swapping in Ancestral Empowerments, swap out something that's not an attack, right? That's something that's a little bit more utility based. Because if you start swapping out a bunch of attacks for a bunch of non-attacks, then all of a sudden you get these clunky hands that don't do anything, and it can be really bad. So hopefully this made sense. If it did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what else you want to see for the Armory deck. I've been making consistent content for it, and people have been liking it. I'm going to be doing some Katsu stuff as well, like just as like a quick little teaser. Like this deck is just, I have it public. Like it's not public, and some people have been playing it. But like if you look at my results on this list, it's been pretty good. I've been having a pretty fun time into a lot of different heroes. So really excited about this list as well, but we'll talk about that here in the future. But yeah, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. But if not me, it's completely fine. Go to our creator down below in the creator worksheet. Follow their stuff. Get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.